Welcome, everyone, to episode 7 out of 121 of 55 in 5. Cary Silkin, Ian Riccaboni. Cary, we're marching on. We had a stumper last time. A real thespian.
Vic Holbrook. But it got us to dig out some names, although there were delays in my brain, and we needed the help of the internet. But regardless, we got out to dig out some other names. Vic Holbrook, as we learned, was an actor and a wrestler, and we came up with some other names
and
that were the same.
Heck of a career, too. I mean, he's a guy that only wrestled for 15 years, but he wrestled in Madison Square Garden, wrestled for the NWA Championship. Maybe wasn't a household name, but certainly a guy that traveled and saw the country.
Well, who do you got for me this week?
Well, Cary, I got some bad news this time around. If you and I didn't know Vic Holbrook, I don't know that we have a shot at all of naming this man. You can show the camera. He might have one of the more generic names in the entire set also. Do you recognize this man, Mr. Steve McGill? And while I do that, I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. Cary and I are both very verbose. I expect Cary to use all 5 minutes talking about Mr. McGill as any wrestling historian would. And Cary has the safety net if he needs to tag in.
Well, he looks like he just saw someone with turds hanging out their mouth. Ian, I've never heard of Steve McGill.
And I don't know that many other people have either. With all due respect to the McGill family, he passed away in 1997. He's a second-generation wrestler from Nebraska. He started his career in Nebraska. One of the most interesting things I could find, none of his matches had decisions from September 3rd, 1953 to August 2nd, 1954. According to the record books, he just had draws. He had time limit draws.
Maybe he was a opening match kind of guy, and they would just have a 30-minute draw to start the show.
Yeah, it seems like that's the type of that's what I extrapolated out of this, because I hardly recognize any of the names that he wrestled. With a couple exceptions, one being on November 1st, 1954, he defeated Purple Haze Mark Lewin.
Really?
Yeah.
Mark Lewin goes back to what year? 54?
54, at least.
To me, he's still alive.
Right.
He's a good friend to Kevin. So we can talk about Mark Lewin a little.
Sure. Let's talk about Mark Lewin.
He's a good friend to Kevin Sullivan's. I mean, if Mark Lewin started in 54, 30 years later, they were doing that whole Purple Haze with Lamb Chop.
Hey, welcome.
With Kevin Sullivan as what did he call him?
The Army of Darkness. He was the
the dungeon. No, it was
not quite the Dungeon of Doom, but he had Woman. He had the Army of Darkness.
Okay,
at the time, yeah.
I think I'm talking about pre that when he was in Florida.
Oh, okay.
In '82, and the Purple Haze. We could call Kevin and ask him. The Purple Haze came out of the ocean.
Right.
And so Mark Lewin had a long career, much longer
than Mr. McGill.
Right.
Who only has records from 53 to 56. So not very notable. I will say this, though. One of the rare wrestling feats in his final recorded match, the final one that everybody knows about, he defeated the great Bozo Brown.
Okay.
And the feat that's impressive is 2 falls to 0 and a best out of 3. He won 2 straight.
Huh.
So there you go. Steve McGill going out on top in Nebraska. How did he get in the I wonder. I wish somebody was around to let us know how he got in the Canada set.
He probably was wrestling. He must have been wrestling in those areas for Parkhurst to put him out. You would think.
You'd think, although it says his dad was Pat McGill. Pat McGill a little bit more famous than Steve McGill, but maybe we'll do a Pat McGill one. Maybe he's in the set too. So, folks, that was about 3 minutes on the dot about Mr. Steve McGill and the McGill family, mostly about Purple Haze Mark Lewin. So this one, and I wouldn't say a letdown, but some interesting facts. I mean, going a year without a decision, at least according to what's available online.
He must have been a part-timer.
Had to have been. And then winning 2 straight falls against the great Bozo Brown. I'm more interested in Bozo Brown at this point than...
Well, maybe he'll come up in the set.
Maybe we'll see Bozo Brown. Hopefully we will. And I know who we'll see next time. We'll see Cary. We'll see myself. AJ, our producer from Bisson Creative. And this has been 55 and 5, episode 7. And hopefully we get somebody that we know. I feel like we're due.
Well, 8's going to be our number.
8 will be our number. And we hope to see you back for number 8. Thanks, everybody. Happy wrestling.